This is Spoiler Country, a podcast about comics, movies, whatever, but mostly comics. Enjoy.
Previously on Spoiler Country,
she's also McDonald's, but McEvil.
Right.
No way.
Yeah, she was Madam McEvil
That is
for the first
awesome.
issue.
Madam McEvil, that is awesome.
All right. Welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric, and that's Johnny Horsley. And today on our show, we are joined by the man himself, the Not So Crazy podcast, Blizzard the Wizard, and Eli Sirota. Eli's in the house, and we're going to talk about Avengers Infinity War.
Are they both here? I thought Eli was just here. Are they both here tonight?
No, it's just Eli tonight. I think Blizzard would be we would probably get on Blizzard's nerves.
Possibly. I don't know.
So welcome, Eli.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. And to answer your question, I mean, at the point of this, when we did this, you guys have not answered her voicemail yet, so she's kind of mad at you. So when she heard I'm doing this, she went to the other room.
We'll get it answered. We apologize. We haven't done any voicemails yet besides the very first one. We're holding them up for to put them on a good episode because we got some fun ones.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna get them all done at once because then we'll do another round hopefully, and we'll get more. It's been a cool thing, man, to have that voicemail.
I love it. And if you want to call it, 707-656-2080. I have memorized.
Plug it.
707-656-2080.
Infinity Wars comes out in exactly 1 week from today.
From our recording of this, yes.
And we are
when you listen to it, it will come out. It will have come out yesterday,
right? Or would it be yesterday or a couple days afterwards? Are we going to edit that night?
No, this is going up Friday.
Okay, there you go. So it'll come
or today.
Yeah. How confusing can you make it?
Right. Time.
So today, or this first half, is the pre-show before we've seen the movie. What our expectations is, how excited we are to go and see this thing. And hopefully, on the second half, we have seen the movie and we'll have a positive reaction.
Oh, it better be positive.
We'll have a reaction no matter what.
Right. Eli, what are you excited for with Infinity Wars?
Oh man, dude. I mean, this has just been what they've been building up for 10 years. Like, this is, I'm so excited for this thing. I mean, just Spider-Man, dude, he's my favorite. He's like, from what I've seen, he's got a big role. I've got some concerns about what he's going to be doing in it, though. We could get into that a little bit later, but definitely just seeing him interact with all these people. Like, from what I've seen, he's funny. He's got some classic Spider-Man quips and stuff. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of good stuff in this movie.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see I'm really excited for the special effects, as cheesy as that sounds, because I just want to see the action with Thanos. And I'm really going to see how Thor and Thanos fight, because in my head, I feel like Thor is, a demigod, so to speak, and he should be able to go toe to toe with Thanos. And I'm wondering how they're going to portray that. And I really want to know who's going to die.
Yeah, someone's got to die in this movie.
All of them.
Right? All of them.
There are theories about that.
Well, if it's interesting, if they actually follow the comics, which they won't, but if they actually follow the comics, they've named the movie wrong first, but nobody actually dies.
Wait. They named the movie wrong. Kind of expand on that. What do you mean?
Because they're telling the story of the Infinity Gauntlet, not the story of Infinity War. Infinity War is a sequel.
Oh, yeah, right. And the Infinity Gauntlet was a while ago, right?
Well, 1991.
That's a while ago.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, the movie's telling more of the Infinity Gauntlet story, where Thanos gets the gauntlet and the 6 gems and uses it to destroy half the universe to impress Mistress Death. And then in the comics, Adam Warlock comes out and, takes the gauntlet, and then Nebula takes the gauntlet from him. Then Adam Warlock has to defeat Nebula, and they win the day, and Warlock uses the gauntlet to bring back basically to undo everything Thanos does. So basically the comic book ends with everything going back to normal and nobody being dead.
Kind of resetting everything?
Yeah. So if they follow the comic book, nobody's going to die.
I mean, with all the contracts expiring, they're going to have to do something to get rid of Iron Man and Captain America.
Right. I'm hoping they use it to kill off either Captain America or Iron Man or both of them.
Yeah, just start a whole new Avengers storylines afterwards. Because I think Thor, Chris Hemsworth loves it. He's finally got some good movies after Ragnarok, so I gotta imagine he's gonna want to do some more.
Yeah, finally in a good role.
Yeah, well, he said he was done until he did Ragnarok. And now he's like, I want to sign up for more.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fun
Ragnarok
movie.
Was so good.
Yeah, very different than the first two ones. And I guess he had a lot of fun doing that one. And I mean, they've turned him into such a more comedic character than I feel like he was supposed to be in the comics, but it's just kind of worked.
Right. Well, they cast Chris Hemsworth, he has great comedic timing to begin with, and they didn't let him use that in his first 4 appearances.
Yeah, I mean, there are some small moments like, oh, he's adopted. Like, they had some small moments of him doing some comedy, but until Ragnarok, it was very low-key.
Right. Ragnarok, he got to come into his own and show off that he could be the serious, actor with this great comedy side in the same movie and make Thor a likable character.
Yeah. It was really cool. I don't know. I've watched it like 3 times now. And
really?
Yeah, I
it's
think
so
it might be my favorite Marvel movie at this point.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And Korg is so great in that movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's all so good. I mean, and like you were talking about the graphics, that stuff was so good in that movie as well. It's just such amazing visuals all over the place in that thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the visuals are awesome.
Dude, the whole hammer scene with Korg talking about wait.
Sounds like you have a close issue with this hammer and it hurt you to the left. Oh, yeah.
What do you so Johnny, if you're looking at the plethora of Marvel movies now in the MCEU, which is crazy to think that they've been going out now since 2007, and that it was 2008. Well, they shot it in 2007, so
okay, but
point is, though,
I guess technically you're right on that one, but
we'll just put it this way. It's just weird to think that I always assumed all of them were Disney until we brought up Iron Man a couple episodes ago, and it was shot by Paramount, which is crazy to me.
It was distributed by Paramount. Yeah.
And then to go in, now it's all Disney. And then when you think about it's been 11 years that this has been going on and building to. 11 years.
Well, if you
10 years.
I guess if you're
10 years, sorry. 10 years.
10 years since release.
Yeah.
Yeah. May 2nd will be the actual 10-year anniversary for the release of Iron Man.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's crazy because when they first made Iron Man, released it, I mean, first off, Iron Man was a D-list character at the time. I mean,
nobody read
Iron Man.
The only reason people who knew Iron Man was because of Black Sabbath.
Right. I mean, I read Iron. I didn't read Iron Man. I knew Iron Man because I grew up with way too many comics in my house. But I remember going to see the movie Iron Man. And I was like, and my first thought was, well, this is a nobody character, so they can really do whatever they want, and it won't matter.
Yeah.
Like if they fuck up the origin story, it doesn't matter because there's not going to be a bunch of people writing. Like if you screw up like Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, it's people get pissed.
Yeah.
But someone like Iron Man, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Go mess with the X-Men. See how many hate mail you get.
Right. Right. Well, they did.
I might be completely off my pop culture stuff, but wasn't Robert Downey Jr. sort of like Iron Man, just a guy who's fallen to like non-existence? No one really cared about him. At one point, he was kind of a big dude.
No, pretty much. He wasn't a huge celebrity. I mean, he had a big name, but he was coming off some legal battles and some.
Robert Downey Jr. was an aspiring actor that his star was shooting straight up, and then
he was doing great.
Yeah, then he got wrapped up and he got a bunch of drug busts against him, and then
now he's like the highest paid actor in the world.
Yeah, he kept going to court, right? And the court finally told him. The judge finally basically said, "Look, you're gonna die, and if I keep seeing you in this court, I'm just gonna send you to prison." And so he went through a ton. He's gone to rehab like a bunch of times. It's actually it's kind of an inspiring success story because of how much he had to go through to get to where he's at today.
Yeah, he had to ride.
Right, and I mean,
go ahead, Eli.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say like his story is similar to Iron Man. Just like a D-list dude. Now all of a sudden he's like the highest paid dude. Everyone's following his story, just like Iron Man's.
Everybody loves him now.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Well, even in if you because you're a reader, you go through on your show, and if you guys haven't checked it out, go check out Blizzard the Wizard, the Not So Crazy podcast with Eli. Did I say that right?
You got the words right, wrong order, but close
what's
enough.
the order? God dang it! What's the order?
It's a Not So Crazy podcast of Blizzard the Wizard and Eli.
There you go. The Not So Crazy podcast of Blizzard the Wizard and Eli. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
That's a mouthful, man.
It is a mouthful, but it's a lot of fun, and you go through comic books that you've read.
Right. I mean, I'm not loaded, and I don't have all the time in the world. So I usually, at most, I have like 8 comics I'll read on New Comic Book Day, and then I'll just sort of talk about them. It's a good time. I enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, if we're being honest here, if you're reading 8 comics every week, that's more than I read a week right now.
It's hard to remember all this stuff, though. I'd rather do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm reading one, I'm like, wait, what happened the last time? Because there's so many stuff you read. But I mean, I do love them all. They're such great stories, and I mean, these movies, they don't exactly follow them all, but they do a great job of interpreting them.
Yeah. I go on waves of comics. I'll go waves where I'll read like 3 or 4 graphic novels in a week and keep doing that for like a month or 2, and then I'll go like 2 months without reading anything. It's kind of like
you read the shit out of Iron
stuff in. Yeah, I did read the shit of Iron Fist. I love Iron Fist.
Yeah. Well, the thing is when you look at the MCEU, everybody, especially us comic nerds that have grown up reading and then know the stories, and then, you know, it's always funny when you meet somebody that's like, well, they got it wrong. That's not how it is in the comic book. Okay, how many comic books do you know have alternate timelines, alternate universes, alternate endings, alternate everything, and it's not a big deal in the comic book?
Right.
So why is it just thinking of it as a different storyline in the movies?
And for me, honestly, even with iconic characters like Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman, these characters that hold more to people than just being a pop culture icon, they're people have a personal connection with some of these older characters. As long as the movies capture the spirit of the character and the spirit of their origin, as far as what they represent, change it all you want, make it modern, make it your own. That's totally fine with me. It's when they change it and it changes like who the character is,
Right.
Fundamentally.
Fundamentally, yeah. Like, I mean, as much as I love Henry Cavill as Superman, I think he's looks the part and could do the part really well. Men has still completely destroyed what the meaning of Superman is.
Yeah.
Well, they, like I said before, they just redid Superman 2, and why would you do that?
Well, even more than that, they redid Superman 2, but they also fundamentally changed the psychosis and the who Superman is in that movie, because instead of his parents raising him to be inspiring and him wanting to do all these things, his parents raised him and you don't owe nobody nothing. You don't owe anybody anything, and don't save me because you'll have to use your powers. I mean, it's just a bunch of bullshit. It totally missed the point on who Superman truly is.
Right.
Then they try to kind of fix it with the Justice League, and it's like too late at this point when they try making this beacon of hope now. When he was so dark in the
which those scenes were great and they were fun to see, but it's like, this doesn't make any sense because he dies and comes back and all of a sudden now he's Superman.
Right. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But leave it to Johnny to have a Marvel show and bring Superman into it.
Absolutely.
They're kind of going off of that too, but you know, there's so many comic books about this guy. You know, Action Comics just reached 1,000 this week, so I mean,
oh yeah.
Like when you're doing these comic book interpretations, there's so much for these people to pick from. So sometimes it's not your version, but someone did make this version of the character. So they're just using that.
That's 100% true.
And a lot of the MCU is based off the Ultimates universe, not the classic Marvel universe, and people tend to forget that too.
I don't think people know that though, unless they're
like how Ned Leeds was basically Genki. That's one of my favorite ones. It's like the look of him, the jokes and stuff. It was just, especially because I was reading that stuff at the time, so I'm just seeing them. And then you see him like with the Legos and everything. It was Genki, and it worked really well in the movie.
That's funny.
Yeah, I liked Ned. I thought Homecoming was a great movie. I thought it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It really worked.
Great.
To give him like a kid who knew who he was, because the comic books are so much like inner monologuing. So to give him someone to actually talk to, and really just showed his youth too. Like his scenes with him, he was like a kid. Just remind you,
it was great.
That's what
very well
Spider-Man. That's what you want your Spider-Man to be, though. Is what Tom Holland gave you.
Yeah, I think Tom Holland has been. I mean, I enjoyed Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but that was always one of those movies where all these actors look too old to be in high school.
Yeah,
like that scene when they pull the mask off on the train, and the guy's like, "He's just a kid." He's like, "Are you fucking kidding? He's like a 45-year-old man."
Right.
That cracked me up, man. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I'm excited for Spider-Man in Infinity War, like you mentioned earlier, Eli. I'm excited to see what they. Oh, I'm excited to see how far they take the Iron Spider suit based upon the comics, because it looks different from the comics, which I think is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering, is he going to have the arms out the back of it? What's going to be special about that suit? Because it looks pretty fantastic.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ayla.
I was going to say, especially with the storyline stuff, now that Captain America is going to be hanging out with him, is he going to sort of realize like who was right in that whole Civil War stuff? Or they're just going to cut that stuff, that's done. We're on Infinity Wars now.
Right. I hope they don't, because I'm kind of upset that they didn't touch more on the Civil War aftermath between that and this one, because we're going from Civil War, which had a lot of lasting effects on the MCU or the MCU, but none of the movies after that have even brought it up or mentioned it really. And then now we're going into Infinity War.
Yeah, who was right on Civil War?
That's the thing. They're neither were right, neither were wrong.
Yeah,
yeah. That's what I liked about it. It's like, you could make an argument for either side, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong.
I wish there would have been one more movie in between this and Infinity War that at least talked about it and tried to work in the melding of Iron Man and Captain America and the two sides. Besides, now we're going to have Infinity War, and my fear is it's going to open up. It's going to open up with Iron Man or Captain America, one of the two, and then within 10 minutes or 15 minutes, they're going to be reconciled and best buddies again because they have to fight Thanos, or some shit.
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah, but we don't know they're going to do that.
No, I said that's my fear.
Because Infinity War is going to be two.
No, it's not.
Movies,
it's
right?
One.
What? I thought are you sure? I thought the whole thing was they're shooting 2 movies at once, and that the next one comes out next year.
That was
Am
the
I
original
wrong?
plan. Infinity War be Avengers 3 and 4, and then about a year ago they dropped it and said Avengers 4 is not going to be a part 2. The Infinity War is going to be a standalone story, and Avengers 4 is a separate story. And that might be a ruse, that might be a lie, and they're just telling us that, and they're gonna split it because Avengers 4 comes out next year. 1 year later, and they are finishing up, but. As far as the official reports go, it's not a 2-part story. It's a 1-part story, and then Avengers 4 is going to be something else.
Yeah, they haven't announced a title for Avengers 4 yet because they said it contains spoilers, so it might be part 2. It might be a different cosmic saga. Who knows?
Yeah,
but they can't kill Thanos in one movie.
Right. It's probably
they got to bring it in for.
It's probably going to be like Infinity Crusade or something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Or there's just a ruse.
Yeah.
And then they're going to land it.
Because honestly, if they defeat Thanos and do this whole thing into one movie, it's unless it's a really super tight story, it's going to kind of be a letdown,
Yeah.
And I'm not the most familiar with the Thanos stuff. Does he have like a big goal? Or is he sort of just like a generic villain? Like, oh, I just want these. I want power. Is there more?
There's more to him. I'll say there's more to him. His overall goal, the basis of his goal is to impress death. He's in love with death, like the personification of death. Yeah. And part of his, and they haven't mentioned this at all really in the movies I know of, but the reason why he uses the gauntlet to destroy half the universe or half the population of the universe is he's making a sacrifice to death to impress her because he wants, that's his goal. He wants to be in love with death.
Yeah,
right.
He wants
ultimate power too. He wants to rule the universe, and the Infinity Gauntlet makes him godlike. So that allows him to do that.
Yeah, but they're not good. They're not even touching on that
not at all.
That part. I mean, they haven't really at all.
I mean,
they did such a good job with Killmonger as a villain, so hopefully they actually do a good job, not just make him just some generic bad guy. They actually do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, they've been teasing him since 2012, and if they make him generic and lame, it's going to be terrible. But I mean, Josh Brolin's doing it, so Josh Brolin's a good actor,
Do you like Josh Brolin in that role? From what you've seen?
I think he'll be fine because he has the bravado to pull off the kind of character you think Thanos would be, The
only thing I don't like, though, man, is, and maybe it's just me, I don't like having actors play double roles. Yeah. It kind of bugs me because it's like now because I look at that chin, his eyes, that's freaking Josh Brolin. And you're from the Goonies, dude.
I mean, Deadpool's in a different universe. It's not the same Marvel universe.
Right now. But it wouldn't. Go ahead.
I was going to say, they had a trailer out today, or it came out yesterday, but he even makes like a Thanos reference in that, so they're just going to have a field day with that.
In the trailer, he called him Thanos, and then he also made a comment about, it's so dark, what is it, the DC Universe? Which was a great line.
I wonder if they can actually put that in the movie, or if that's just going to be in the trailers, because that's a pretty
big It's a pretty good stat right there.
Yeah.
It probably will just be in the trailer. I hate it when they do that. When you watch a trailer, I should say I hate it, but it bugs me when you watch a trailer and they have something that just cracks you up. Like, okay, so Anchorman, it came out in what, 2006, 2007, something like that, or somewhere around. Yeah, a while ago. Let's just put it that. And that movie cracked me up. I quoted that movie for years. But when the first time I saw a trailer for it was in the theater, and I don't remember what I was seeing, but there's a scene where Ron's like, I need all eyes on me. And he's drinking like a scotch. And he's on the diving board, and you see him goes, cannonball. And the thing is when he drops the glass, you hear it go bloop, and then he splashes. And it's the funniest thing because it's all part of it. And then when they did that scene, it was completely different. And I was like, I was like waiting for that. And I don't know why I bring that one back up because it's irrelevant to what we're talking about. But trailers tend to do that a lot nowadays where they have jokes, they have, scenes that happen in the trailer that are not reflected in the movie, and it kind of drives me nuts.
There's a reason why that happens, and it's not because they want to show you jokes aren't going to make it in. It's because the people who cut the trailers aren't involved with the movie making process, and what they do is they send off chunks of film to the people making the trailer. The people then cut the trailer out of what they're given, but they don't know if that scene gets cut or stays in the movie. So they only have a certain amount of finished product to use to make the trailers, and then. That's why it happens.
Well, it's funny that you say that because Suicide Squad was reshot because of the producers and the executive producers liked the trailer more than the editing they were seeing coming out of the
the reaction to the trailer, that first trailer with Bohemian Rhapsody was so good. They're like, that's the tone we need for the movie because the movie has such a dark tone. They changed the tone because of the trailer.
Wow, I didn't know that one.
yeah, they wanted more jokes and they wanted more of that play. And I don't know. I really liked that movie. I know a lot of people didn't. Were like,
I enjoyed it.
It was Suicide
That's the movie
Squad.
that Dennis Care and I became friends over because he hated it and I liked it. We had like a 4-hour conversation about why it's okay for us to not like it, to have different opinions on it.
I thought Will Smith did an excellent job, and that was the one that I was the most mad about. I was like, oh, why didn't they just use the guy that played him on Arrow? He was great as Deadshot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then I watched the movie, and he totally won me over, and I was like, this is great.
You know, Suicide Squad totally relevant to Avengers here.
Another DC chat.
So to go back on topic, do you know how many times Thanos has appeared in the MCU?
Who?
Thanos. Do you know how many times he's appeared?
I don't know, 4.
Is it 3 times? 4? Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 times.
The Avengers, Avengers 2 and
That's
Guardians.
Right. Yep.
There you go.
He was a character in Guardians, and he was in the end credit scenes of Avengers 1 and 2.
Do you count the end credit scenes as being in the movie?
Yeah, because it's an appearance. I mean, the end credit scenes are part of the movie. You know, they're canon.
So would you call his first appearance Avengers, or would you call it?
It was his first
Guardians of the
cameo
Galaxy?
appearance.
What?
No, Avengers was his first cameo appearance.
Right. So Eli, me and Johnny had this whole thing, and we're of the same mind. We actually came up with rules of what a first appearance actually means, right? Because
And what are the rules?
Okay, let me put an example. Hulk 181 is considered the first appearance of Wolverine, but he's on the last panel of Hulk 180.
No, the last page. Pretty much.
Last page.
It's almost a full. I mean, there's 2 little panels on it. There's almost a full page of him on the last page of 180.
And they call it a cameo. But how do you have a cameo if you've never been introduced?
Right.
And so we were thinking to have a full appearance. What was all the rules, Johnny? We had like 2 rules that was basically.
It was pretty simple. Are you in the book? Can you identify who you are? There you go.
That's what it was.
First appearance.
Yep. Because
he's in the book and he says his name. It's his first appearance, not a cameo.
Yep. Because one of the things that we found is you have characters that show up in earlier books that are not identified as a character. They're like a background character. And then later on, somebody takes a picture of somebody and they're like, oh, let's put him in this and we'll call him this and then that. And then we could say this is their first appearance when really their first appearance is when they've identified who they are. And that's, you could say,
well,
this is
a good example of that is Cable. Cable first appeared in New Mutants 87, right? However, if you look at Uncanny X-Men 205, it's the first appearance of Baby Nathan, which is before New Mutants 87, which is supposedly Cable as a baby, because there's a baby in there named Nathan, and they call it Cable as a baby.
Right. We're just trying to make sense of it all, man. Just trying to make sense of it.
Right. And it's all fun, though. I mean, it's all fun.
Yeah. So
interesting discussions.
Yeah.
I like it, though. I like that sort of thinking. It's clever.
Well, it's clever.
Yeah. I mean, when you go back and it gets confusing. And why isn't Hulk 180 the $5,000 book that 181 is? I mean, where did the joint concession come from that says Hulk 181 is the first appearance?
I can understand why it's worth more money, but I can't understand why people don't call it. Why people call it not, don't call it a first appearance, because Hulk 181, or Wolverine's on the cover. It's a classic pose. He's in the entire story. I get why that one would be worth more money because it's his first cover. It's his first full story.
Right.
But his first appearance is still 180, not 181, in my opinion.
Yeah, mine too. That's kind of crazy.
Because value should go with demand, and 181 is going to be more in demand because it has him on the cover. Nothing sucks more than loving a character and buying their first appearance and they're not even on the cover.
All right, here we go. Johnny, what is the number one thing you're looking forward to on Avengers Infinity War?
I'm looking forward to somebody dying and hopefully staying dead.
That's bleak, but all right.
Well, no, because it'll move the universe forward. That's what I want, to move it forward. Nothing will piss me off more is if this movie ends with everything going back to status quo and nothing actually changing.
Right. I kind of think that they're going to do the Iron Man alcohol line in the movie.
They did that already.
And what?
That's the plot of Iron Man 2.
Oh man, I always fall asleep during that one. Every time.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 3 is the alcohol one, isn't it?
Iron Man 3. Yeah, Iron Man 3. The first half of the movie is his deal. Is the alcohol plot of Iron Man.
Yeah, that's why I always fall asleep, and then I wake up to all the Iron Mans like in the sky, and I'm like, what is going on? Every time. What is okay? And then one more question, Johnny. Then I'm going to move on. Ask the exact same questions to Eli.
All right.
If you're looking at the MCU as a whole, the MCEU as a whole, Give me your
It's just
top.
MCU. There's no E in it. The E's in the DC universe. It's DCEU, MCU.
I thought it was the.
No, it's Marvel Cinematic
you're
Universe.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. When you're looking at the movie for the MCU,
Yeah.
give me your top 5?
Top 5? Okay. Thor Ragnarok, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Guardians 1, and these are not in order, by the way. These are in the order of what I can remember them in.
Yeah, that's fine.
And probably the first Iron Man, actually.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then I lied. Follow-up question. What is your expectation of Xfinity cracking that top 5 or being outside of it?
Well, hopefully you mean Infinity, not Xfinity, because I'm hoping Comcast isn't in the movie.
Okay, Infinity, whatever. Xfinity.
My expectation is it should become one of the top 3, at least.
Oh, nice. That's interesting.
Because if they cannot take the star power and the character power and the hype that this movie has been building for 10 years and put it at the top 5 of people's list, then they've failed. I mean, it's going to make a ton of money no matter what. It's going to make $2 billion at least. But if they can't make it to where it has all these favorite characters and has a compelling story and they've got such a build up for it and make it be one of the top 5, then I would say they've failed their mission on that one.
That's some good points. So Eli,
No pressure, Disney.
yeah, no pressure. So Eli, what is something that you are looking forward to with this movie?
Oh man, definitely like the potential for all the team ups they could do. Because like you were saying, there's so many stars in this, and just seeing them all interact, like Chris Pratt with any of these people, he's gonna have some great dialogues, and meet some funny moments. I mean, there's just so many great people in this, and just how are they gonna mix them up? You know, who's gonna mesh well, like, you know, character wise, and just all these cool things, all the fights, like the Wakanda scene looks epic. I haven't seen any of the trailers besides the one where they announced the tickets, because I don't want to see any footage. I just want to go in like, oh my god, like every scene's going to be like that first time I've seen it. Like, I just want the whole experience. I'm looking forward to just every part of this movie.
Yeah, I only watched the first trailer. Then I refuse to watch anything else in this movie.
It's going to be like popcorned out soda, just chomp, 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 watching this thing. That's how I'm going to be.
I'm going to be sitting next to you.
The trailer did give me one concern though, and that's just Spider-Man's got his mask off too much. I'm sure there's some productional reason why they're doing that, but I mean, he doesn't know any of these people, and his secret identity is supposed to be one of his big things. So just walk around like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm Peter Parker. I haven't met you before.
Right.
It's like all these scenes just, I'm worried like how they're going to do that and how they're going to mix it in. Maybe it's part of him being young. He doesn't know about the secret identity stuff yet. Who knows? But that's something I'm kind of curious to see like what they do with that, just because it seems like every scene he's got his
part of that's
mask on.
contractual too. Part of that's contractual when actors sign for movies like this. Unless they're like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, and certain actors like Keith or Carl Urban in Dredd, they put in their contract that they have to be out of mask for X number of minutes of the movie or percentage of the movie. That way their face is seen, they're not just replaceable with another guy in a mask.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a feeling there's going to be some deeper meaning.
Yeah, that's why.
Because in the comics, whenever he's been these scenes, he would always have his mask on. So just I wondered why that was. But then the follow up to yours, the 5 favorites. Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for the Spider-Man stuff, so definitely Homecoming and Civil War 2. Those were just great. This whole phase currently is just, they've all been out of the park.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, was such a good movie. That was like the moment where I realized Star Wars was going to be good, because I knew they were all owned by Disney. So when I saw this, I saw how well they handled it. Like, all right, Star Wars is going to be, they're in good hands. Right. So that was like a moment where I knew those were going to be good. That's 3 of them. I really liked Ant-Man. I thought that was really good. I like the comedic he takes on these movies.
Ant-Man was great.
Paul Rudd, like, I never would have guessed he would have been a superhero. Like, if you told me that like 10 years ago, like, I would be like, what? No. He just does goofy comedies.
I don't think he ever thought that either.
He's making
he said, I love you, man. Come on.
Yeah, and like, he did a movie, This Is 40, that was out like 8 years ago. So he's got to be like getting up there in age, and he's still doing this stuff.
Right, he was great.
And then I guess the 5th would be Avengers. So that first one, when they finally did that team up, it was a good potential sign of what they could do when they're building this whole universe.
Yeah, that's cool.
So for you, Kenric, what's for you?
Okay, so I'm excited. Eli actually mentioned at the beginning, I'm really excited how they handle Spider-Man, because I think he's one of my favorites, and I'm really excited to see how. After Ragnarok, I'm really excited to see how Thor goes and what happens, because either if Thor dies, then they're going to bring in Jane Foster. Or if, since Mjolnir is broken now, they could actually bring in Jane Foster anyways, because Thor is starting to take on that mantle of being, the Allfather. So that's going to be an interesting take.
Bring in Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, or Beta Ray Bill. That would be awesome.
Or Frog Thor. Make him do a Frog Thor movie.
Yeah, I could do without Frog Thor. That's a little much. But my top 5 is obviously Ragnarok, Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, and Homecoming, and the 5th one, it would have to be Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's kind of funny because Avengers isn't even in there.
Yeah, Avengers wasn't in mine either.
Yeah, Avengers. I like the Avengers. I
liked it too.
Yeah, I mean, of all the ones I've watched, the only ones that I don't really care about so much is I don't really care about Thor 2, even though I really enjoyed watching it. It's kind of it's a guilty pleasure more than is it great for the rest of the MCU. Not so much, but it was a fun one to watch for me. And then the Avengers 2, the 2 Avengers ones, even though I really liked it, I thought they did a better job in Civil War.
Yeah, well, and Avengers 2 is just a copy paste of Avengers 1 with robots for the most part.
Yeah. And then the Black Panther's in there too, and I don't know where to put the Black Panther because I really enjoyed it, but it was such a different style of movie. Yeah.
Want to hear a fun fact about Avengers?
Yeah, I do.
This is a fun. This is a total personal fact for me. Okay. That was the last movie I watched with my dad before he passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't watch it in theaters, but he couldn't go to the theaters, so I acquired a copy of it and we watched it in his room.
Cool. Did he like it?
Oh, he loved it. Yeah,
that's cool.
And that was Black Panther.
Avengers when it came out.
So Eli, just so you know, some backstory. Johnny's dad was a huge comic book collector for many, 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 many years, and we're talking like from the 60s on up. And yeah, and so Johnny's whole childhood was revolved around comic books, comic book sales, comic book collecting, comic book trivia, and most of that was DC. Like his dad actually owned Superman #1 and #6 and some other ones.
He owned the first 423 issues of Superman.
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. But yeah, so it was the last theater movie that he saw was that, and he liked it. He enjoyed it. He thought it was a lot of fun.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I have some questions that I want to ask you guys. It's just kind of trivia questions about Avengers, the movies, if you guys will allow me.
Yeah.
So,
oh boy. All right.
We're up.
Ask Eli every single one, and I'll just sit here quietly.
All right. Well, I'm gonna ask you too.
Oh no.
It's just for fun, right? Because it's just curious. I'm curious if this is knowledge people know, if I'm just ridiculous and do crazy things with Excel. Out of all of the movies that have come out for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which one do you think has made the most money?
Out of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which one's made the most money? Black Panther.
Worldwide. Okay, Eli, what do you think?
I mean, just from the theaters or from overall?
Overall.
Like including DVDs?
No, just theaters.
Yeah,
Sorry, just theaters.
Then yeah, I'd probably.
So Black Panther's actually only made $1.3 billion. The first Avengers made $1.5 billion.
Wait, I thought Black Panther has made the most money of any movie now. I thought it surpassed Titanic.
It's made the most money domestically, not worldwide.
Oh, is that the caveat there?
Domestically, Black Panther's made about $700 million, and Avengers made about $623 million. But worldwide, it's $1.5 billion for Avengers and $1.34 billion for Black Panther.
Crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you know which movie cost the most money to make?
Which movie cost the most to make? This is going to be an interesting one. So my brain is saying Civil War.
Okay.
I want to say. For some reason, I want to say Guardians, but when you have that much, it's all green screen, so it's not as expensive as you might think. I think Tactile actually costs more than green screen. So I'm going to stick with it's either Winter Soldier or Civil War. I'm going to say Civil War.
Okay, Eli, what do you think?
I was actually going to go Winter Soldier.
So Winter Soldier cost $170 million to make. So no, it's not the most.
Wow.
Civil War, and Age of Ultron both cost $250 million.
Wow. So Civil War
and Age of Ultron are tied with 250. Yeah. So that's I was shocked. I was kind of shocked when I found out those two cost 250 because it's a lot for those movies.
I don't know if you remember because I think you guys were probably in high school and I don't know how old you are, Eli. So it's irrelevant. So, but when they were shooting Titanic, James Cameron, that was a movie that took a long time to actually shoot and to actually have it get to the theater. And a little mark of pride here, I've never actually watched that movie, and I never will because of that.
I haven't seen it either, just because I never.
Well, now it's like I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? Because it's been so long, and it's been like, you know, because everybody gushed over it, and so it's like I never saw it.
I've watched Thumbtanic.
Oh, that was
Thumbtanic.
great.
Thumbtanic's great.
I love those.
Yeah, with Steve Odenkirk. That's great.
I love the Thumb movies.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Franken Thumb, Thumbtanic, Star Thumb, or Thumb Wars. There was a bunch of.
I have
there was like a whole
Franken Thumb.
those.
Yeah, I have the box set somewhere in my box of DVDs.
Okay, so before I lose my train of thought,
You guys got to watch.
sorry.
those.
That's right. So that movie was at the time was the most expensive movie ever produced, and when they hit $100 million, people were going mad, freaking out. Now you're throwing out 250 million, 170 million. People don't even blink at it. It is crazy production costs.
With these MCU movies, they know they're going to easily make a profit if they spend that much. So it's not as, I guess, there's not as much risk when they do it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a huge risk to make Titanic.
You know,
Yeah.
Titanic wasn't the first $100 million movie budget.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because Waterworld was before that and was over $100 million, and so was True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, True Lies. That one was funny.
But Titanic was the first one. I think Titanic was, it was like 150. It was a huge budget. I remember being all over the news that it cost them so much money to make this recreation of the Titanic. And part of that too was the fact that part of the budget was the funding of the exploration he did to go to the Titanic to put the cameras down there and do research on it too.
Yeah, that was pretty nutty.
All right, so last question for you guys that I can think of right now about my whole stupid budget thing here. What movie was the cheapest to make?
Okay, this is just Disney. Is this Disney? And are we going back to Iron Man 2008?
All of the MCU. All of the MCU.
Okay. Well, yeah. Was it Captain America?
That's a good choice. What do
you think?
I was gonna say Ant-Man. There wasn't a lot of.
Oh,
how about like the end
yeah.
stuff? It was pretty.
So
pretty low key.
If we were giving out points here, Eli gets a point because it is Ant-Man.
Oh, nice.
Ant-Man cost $130 million to make, and then Captain America cost $140 million to make. Now, let's throw out one bonus question that's going to be easy. What's the only MCU movie to not turn a profit domestically?
Thor 2.
Hulk?
Nope.
Oh,
It's not The Dark World?
Nope.
What's the only MCU movie to not turn a profit domestically?
And you said no to Hulk.
No,
as
Hulk.
well?
It is Hulk.
Oh! I always forget because Hulk is Universal. I always forget that it's considered part of the MCU.
They tried to make like a semi-sequel. Yeah, that was supposed to be his origin.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk's part of it. It's the second movie in the MCU.
Is that the one with Ed Norton?
Yeah.
That didn't turn a profit?
It cost $150 million and it only made $134 million domestically.
Wow. Ed Norton killed that whole thing because they wanted to do another one with him, and he said no. Well, he wanted too much money.
Yeah, they wouldn't pay him what he asked for.
Yeah, so they went and got Mark Ruffalo, who has been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job.
It kind of goes to show why do you sometimes it's, I don't know if it's greed. You can't really say it's greed because you don't know what he should have got or what was. He
actually released a statement. I remember when that has happened, and I was like, God damn it, I liked him in that role and I want him to keep going. But he released a statement about why he didn't do it. And he was like, he didn't feel right doing it. It didn't seem, the movie going forward into the MCU didn't fit with what he wanted to do, and Marvel didn't want to pay him what he wanted to do. What he felt it would cost for him to put himself into that role for the next 10 years or whatever it was, the contract wise.
Right.
It was mostly for him. It was they wanted a long contract, and he didn't want to sign a 10-year contract. So he asked for more money. Yeah, you can't blame for that, especially when you're an actor. Your whole thing is, I want to try this and I want to do that and I want to, it's the experiences of the acting that you're doing and putting yourselves into that role. And I guess if you're someone's of Ed Norton's caliber, where he's done like American History X and Fight Club.
And Fight Club and then the Hulk, and that kind of limits what he can do. But has he really done anything since then? I mean, he's been in stuff. He does. Edward Norton's one of the guys. He has the ability to do the movies he wants to do. He doesn't have to do movies for huge money now. He can do what he wants to do. So I think for him, it's more of the freedom of being able to be in movies he thinks are intriguing and fun. Yeah, I think it's funny that Chris Helmsworth is like, I really want to re-up on the contract. Yeah. Well, Taika Waititi did a great job. That could tell you what an experience can do for somebody, and it makes me wonder, how they felt doing Joss Whedon's Avengers, and then Avengers 2, and then now Whedon's out on Batgirl. Did you see that? Yeah, he's out of that. Yeah, and I don't know if it's all the stuff that's come out, all the sexual harassment things that have been going on and swirling around him, if that's the cause of everything.
Well, anymore when they announce directors or they announce actors for movies, if they're not announcing it and starting filming soon, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, well, they're probably going to drop out for any number of reasons. Because they announced Joss Whedon, a while ago, and it's like, okay, sure, but there's no plans of shooting it. There's no stars in it. That's why even the Rock's Black Adam news, I'm like, okay, well, we'll see if that ever happens, because that was like 5 years ago.
Or the Batman with Affleck.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. That's DC. The DC universe is a whole other show, and I kind of think they should just scrap it and start over. But whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll do that one on another time. Are you a big DC fan, Eli, or are you mostly Marvel?
I mostly stick with Marvel. I do try and read some DC stuff. I've been reading Batman. Tom King's been just doing such a good job with it. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with those comics. He's a fantastic writer. His Super Friends with Superman, that was like one of my favorite Batman issues. It's like when they're showing him and Superman, they're just the contrast, but just how they work so well together. It was so enjoyable. Like I could go back.
And they're not enemies.
Yeah, like they both were. I'm not worthy of the other one. The other one does all of this stuff with all these limitations, and then the other one, like he does all this, and I'm just this person. It's just so beautiful. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, writers who can capture the actual like connection between those two characters always impress me, because half the time writers don't understand why Superman or Batman would actually be friends or would actually look up to each other. And then half the times they're just, trying to make them fight for whatever reason. And then you have writers who will capture what the essence of them is. And I know where you're going, so fuck off, Kenric.
I'm not going anywhere, man. I think it's your passion for Superman is, it's contagious, man. It cracks me up because you will fight and protect Superman. And I swear to God, you'll be on your deathbed and you'll be like, Batman sucks, Superman forever.
No, I like Batman too. I don't think Batman sucks.
I know you like Batman. It's not the point of not liking Batman. It's just the funny that you'll attack it as soon as someone talks about Batman and Superman. This comes up, and I enjoy it. I think it's funny.
Well, I think it's a very important point, because people get stuck in the fact of the Dark Knight and dark Batman, and Batman's so dark, and
they like the brooding Batman.
Yeah, and they like the brooding Batman, but even as a brooding Batman, that doesn't change his relationship with Superman and why they would actually be friends, But that's a whole different podcast. Not for this one.
Eli, have you read Kingdom Come?
I have not. What is that?
It's a DC title. It's a one shot, and it was written by Mark Waid and
Mark Waid and Alex Ross.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny.
You were cutting out, so I didn't know if we could hear you. Sorry.
One DC title I wanted to take a look at, I think it was like the Commanda Challenge or Kamala Challenge. It's some story where the different writing team every issue. So one of them starts off and they got to get out of the previous person's jam, and then they ended on a cliffhanger.
Oh, that's cool.
And then that's the next
That's
rating
interesting.
team. I think it was like the Kamala Challenge, Commanda Challenge. It was something challenge. And it's like one story, and like each writing team's they take it. So each story's got different art. Just, I don't know. It sounds really cool. I got to find it.
Yeah.
I like that.
So Kingdom Come, though, Eli, was written... what was it, in the 90s or the early 2000s, Johnny?
I believe it came out like 99, 2000, like that time for that crossover change there. The years. So
it takes place in the near distant future, and a bomb has gone off in the Midwest, and most of the superheroes of today are gone, and you have like Batman left. You have the Trinity left, right? Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. Okay.
Well, no, you don't.
What are you talking about?
I mean, they're alive, but they're not doing anything. Superman is not doing anything in the story.
I didn't say he was.
Well, I mean, it's like there was.
He said they're all alive.
Yeah, just said they're all alive.
Sorry, the way I interpret what you were saying was like they're still active. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. But that's part of the story. You can't. That's to read, right? I'm just saying that the story revolves around the Trinity, and it was done really, really well. And if you're not a big DC person, that is one to read to get the kind of emotion that Johnny conveys when he's talking about Superman and Batman. It's a good one to kind of get the understanding of where he's coming from. And then I would also suggest, if you haven't had a chance, to check out All-Star Superman, when he made me read that, and I was like, all right, that was a good one.
I'm like, no, read this, damn it. And All-Star Superman's really good.
We had an episode where I said, okay, if there is something, that I would want you to do or watch or read or whatever, do this one, and then maybe that will make you want to read or watch more, right? So I picked a Doctor Who episode for him to watch. He picks a freaking miniseries that's 12 issues long for me to read.
Now, to be fair, when I said that, I thought it was only 6 issues, not 12. Because I hadn't read it in a while.
All right. Well, we'll keep going on this, and it's already an hour in.
We should talk about the Infinity Stones before we're done with the intro here. I mean, we haven't talked about the stones at all.
But that okay, let's do it.
It's kind of the whole point of the movie is the stones and Thanos, you know.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet.
One more thing I want.
Well, when we cut here in 10 minutes, you will have. So there.
Damn it.
So what were you saying, Eli?
Oh, you guys brought up something else I was going to ask you guys, or just something I was curious about. I don't know if we have time for it now, but you guys were talking about the Hulk and his whole storyline, because you guys were talking about the Hulk and how, you know, the last time he's like, if I transform, I don't know if I'm ever going to come back, and just how they've already shown the trailers he's going to be back, so just how they're going to handle his whole storyline, because they've said like he's going to have like a 3-way arc between this and then the Avengers. So just curious about what they're going to do with him in this whole movie.
You know what? I like how they started his whole thing where, and it was Avengers 2 when he takes off in the plane?
Yeah.
And then I was like, how did you get this thing? And because I completely forgot about that. And then to have him go through basically a mini Planet Hulk movie that they gave us.
Yeah.
And then go through that. And now he's traveling with Thor, with all of Thor, with all the Asgardians, and then coming here and having to basically, is that going to be the 3-part arc? Or is the third part going to end in Avengers 4?
I think it's supposed to go into Avengers 4. I'm not really sure, though. They might end it here. Who knows? Like, he might be one of the people that die. I hope not.
No way. You can't kill the Hulk. Because, like he said, you know, remember Ed Norton was like, I put a bullet. Was it him that said, I put a bullet in my head and the creature spit it out?
The guy spit it out. Yeah.
Or was it Ruffalo? Yeah.
It might have been in Avengers. He said that.
It's an awesome line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what they're going to do, I think it's going to go, well, my feeling is it's going to go through to Avengers 4 for the third arc. It's going to be across both those movies. And what I'm hoping is that it ends with him being more in control of the Beast. Like, I mean, they showed him talking in Ragnarok. I know that was the Beast, but if you understand the Hulk, you understand that the Hulk lives within Bruce Banner, and they are different, but they are the same. It's a really weird concept, but I'm hoping it ends with him more in control of the Hulk and able to kind of be at the point where he was in the 90s, where when he was the Hulk, he was still able to control the Bruce Banner aspect as well, and it'd be kind of a cool ending story for him to end up on the good side of it versus the bad side of it.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially the way they were saying it in that one. Like, he had no control. Like, he was Hulk for 2+ years, and like Bruce had no idea about it. So just that whole fear, like, I don't know if I'll ever turn back to Bruce again. He still did it to save the Asgardians.
Right.
So now he is Hulk going into Avengers.
Well, in the comic books, they have had times where Banner takes control of the Hulk's mind, and it's like that for quite a while.
Yeah, and Hulk actually has conversations and talks and does all the stuff. Yeah, and because Banners can talk through them. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they left Avengers 4 with Hulk, you know, being able to talk normal and being in control, then, because that'd put them in a really cool position for the next movie to destroy it all.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. When thinking of the Hulk, you know, for some reason, guys, this is the first time that I've ever actually thought, wow, the Hulk is just Stan Lee's version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It never crossed my mind before.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because it's like, that's interesting. You know, obviously the Hulk is, you know, much more physically daunting and more, you know.
Yeah, destructive. And then, you know, the angrier he gets, the more stronger he gets. And Hyde is just, you know, an oversized monster, basically. So it's just kind of funny. I don't know why I never thought of that before. I don't know why I never correlated those two together. Yeah, that's my first thought when I first read the Hulk was, oh, it's Jekyll and Hyde.
I'm sure it should have been my first thought.
Right. It's
why did it take to me being 43 having a conversation on our podcast? And I'm like, oh, you know what?
You can blame Eli. It's because Eli's here. You thought of it. That's all.
Right.
You're welcome, I guess.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. So Infinity Stones. Anybody who reads the comics and has not read the movies, but watched the movies knows that the Infinity Stones in the movies and the Infinity Gems in the comics color-wise don't line up, right? They don't match one-to-one. I think they made a specific choice to make them different in the movies. That way you wouldn't know what was coming, you know? Because the Time Stone in the comics is not the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange, right? Those are two different things completely. But in the movies, I think they've done a good job with weaving these stones into the movies and into the mythos of these characters to make them make sense for why all these characters would come together, because why would Doctor Strange really need to go help the Avengers out if his necklace wasn't a stone, right? I mean, it brings them together really well.
It makes a lot of sense to have it be an Infinity Stone.
It does, and there's 6 stones, and they've only shown 5 of them in the movie so far. They've shown the Space Stone, which was the Tesseract.
Thanos already have one?
I thought that too, and I think that might be true, but if you watch the trailer, he has the gauntlet on, but there's no stones in it yet. It's empty, right? So I'm curious to what the Soul Stone is, but we have the Space Stone.
You think it could be the source of vibranium?
That's a theory. A theory that I read also.
I was going to say, people were wondering if it was going to show up in Black Panther because that was the last movie to come out before.
And I read a theory online about that it actually was in Black Panther, and what it was the herb, the heart-shaped herb that he takes to become Black Panther. That is the Soul Stone, the actual herb itself.
Which would make sense with those scenes they have where he goes to the astral, or no, that's not the astral plane, but wherever they called that.
Right, whatever they call it.
Place where he saw his dad.
Yeah, so there's theories that was actually the Soul Stone, which would make sense,
Yeah.
Because they have, it makes sense in the fact that the same thing that the Reality Stone that was in the Dark World was the ether, that red cloud shit in the sky. That's the Reality Stone. So I ultimately, Thanos is going to take that and form it into a gem somehow to put it into the gauntlet. So it makes sense for something else to not be an actual stone to be formed into it for the gauntlet. So it could be.
Can we do this? You're talking about each stone, but can you? Maybe you already have an idea, and maybe we need to talk about it. But I'm kind of thinking, Johnny, because you've been so people know. Get ready. We're gonna have we did a brief history on the Comics Code Authority, and we're getting ready to do a brief history on the Avengers. And Johnny has many hours of research into this thing.
Yeah, I do.
Do you think you can give us a synopsis of what the Gauntlet of Power and the Infinity Stones actually mean as a whole for the MCU?
Yeah, I'll give a brief. I won't go into super detail because we're going to cover that on another episode. But basically, the gauntlet is a glove that somebody can wear that gives them control over all 6 of the stones, and each stone has its own power, but altogether it makes the bearer of the gauntlet godlike. Like the Time Stone allows him to control time. The Soul Stone allows him to control life and death. The Space Stone allows him to control time or control space. I don't know how to explain that one. But the Tesseract from the first Avenger was the Space Stone. It's a power source essentially. Yeah. The Mind Stone allows you to control people's minds or to gift power, because the Mind Stone was what they used to create. It was Loki's staff. He used it to control Hawkeye. It was also used to create Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and it was also used. It's the stone that's sitting in Vision's forehead right now. The Reality Stone helps you bend reality, which was the ether in the Dark World. The Power Stone is that purple stone that they had the dance off for in Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think was fantastic.
What are you doing?
Right.
Dance off, bro.
It allows you, it grants power and stuff, and all these stones together allow you to basically control the universe or control the known universe of what you want, because you become a god pretty much.
Right.
And it's, the comics, all the stones are different. The same concept, different colors and stuff like that. But what they mean for the movies is they've, as I mentioned a little earlier, they've weaved these things into the movies to build up to this Infinity War, which brings up a point I like to bring up sometime. Like, this movie by itself will probably be terrible if you never had any knowledge of any of the movies before it,
Right.
Yeah.
Because Avengers Infinity War will make no sense if you haven't seen or had knowledge of the previous, 10 years of movies.
Right. Well, at least I think you can get away with it if you've watched Guardians and you've watched and you've seen the cutscenes from the Avengers.
Yeah. If you have a familiarity with what's going on in the MCU, then that makes sense. But they couldn't make this if they hadn't been working on this for 10 years and hadn't had any movies out, and this is like the first movie. It wouldn't make sense,
This is the end of what phase are we in? This
is phase 3, and it's not the end of phase 3. This is the middle of phase 3.
Wow!
Because after this, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and then Avengers 4.
So, Johnny, as a giant DC fan that you are, like I grew up more of a Marvel guy, just like Eli. How frustrated are you with DC's and Warner Brothers handling of the DC movies. When you watch Marvel's handling and Disney's handling of what they've done comparatively.
Well, I mean, I love the Marvel movies. I think they're fantastic. I mean, I do love Marvel a lot.
Yeah, I know. You know more about Marvel than I do, but your first love is DC.
Yeah. To be completely honest, what they've been doing with the DC movies since they released Man of Steel pisses me off, because you have these great stories, these great characters that could be as good or better than what Marvel and Disney are putting out. And that's a biased statement, I know, but in my opinion, they could be better than those movies. However, they're just completely fucking him up. They're trying too hard to make him edgy, too hard to make him dark and funny or whatever. And it's just, you don't need to force the envelope. There's no reason to ever make Superman a dark character unless you're doing the black costume Superman after he dies and are working on that. But there's no reason for Superman not to be hopeful, or at least you can't do that on the first movie. In the second movie, you've got to at least establish that he, what kind of a character he is first before you destroy him. You can't start destroyed on Superman. It doesn't work.
There's no bumbling Clark Kent with the movies.
Yeah, I mean, there's not.
I got a Superman question for you. As a diehard fan, would you have been bad if Cavill had the mustache in Justice League?
I think if they would have just given him a beard with it, wouldn't have mattered, because he had a beard when he came back from the dead in the comics. He had a beard. It would have made sense.
All right, I know that was a huge thing. Like the way they shaved it didn't look very good, so I didn't know if that was like.
No, yeah, they got fucked over by Paramount, you know.
Yeah, Paramount wouldn't let him shave it.
Yeah, Warner Brothers offered to pay for the prosthetic mustache, to pay for all the CGI to add it back, because the CGI to add it back to him is much cheaper and easier and looks better than taking it away. And they just said nope, not allowing it. You know, it was a huge middle finger to him.
I didn't even notice it though. You know that? And maybe because I didn't read the articles about the whole mustache fiasco, I didn't even notice it. And it wasn't until I watched, I think it was Kevin Smith on Fat Man and Batman, they talked about it, that I even knew that was a thing. And then I go back now, and maybe it's my untrained eyes. I can't tell, man.
Really?
And maybe because I'm not sitting there looking at his lips. There's so much more going on. Why am I looking at Henry Cavill's lips?
I watched it. I just watched Justice League with my kids 2 weeks ago, and the first thing they said was like, Sadie and Tegan, my 10-year-old and my 7-year-old, go, "What's wrong with Superman's mouth? Why does his mouth look weird?" Every scene, Dad, why does his face look weird? What's wrong with Superman?
That's hilarious.
They're noticing it, and it's like I told them, they're like, "Why didn't they let him shave? That's stupid." I'm like, I know it's stupid.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like in that movie was the villain. Steppenwolf.
You know, you can listen to our Justice League review. We talk about it. We talk pretty positive about it, and I did enjoy it overall. It's just not the Justice League movie that I wanted to see. You know?
No, they should have done a whole build up like the Marvel has been doing with the Avengers.
Yeah, like, and the payoff for Infinity War is going to be amazing because of the 10 years.
But it comes off to writing and direction and execution. Because you can see the difference between Disney's execution on the MCU today and Fox's execution on X-Men. And I would contend and argue with anybody that X-Men's run in the 80s for writing, Chris Claremont's take on X-Men is probably the greatest set of comic books ever written. And close to it. Might not have the same impact as like Superman and stuff like that, but the storylines and the social issues they tackle in that set is amazing. And the fact that Fox has had X-Men now for almost 20 years of making movies, which is crazy to think, and they haven't been able to tap into that and build what was there. You know, it's the same kind of thing that DC and Warner Brothers has been doing. Right, where you have 80 years of amazing storytelling. I mean, just go take, even though Dark Knight might not be the greatest Batman story, Johnny, from what you like, but Frank Miller's run for Batman Year 1, Year 2, amazing. And it's like, take that. You could have done that and it would have been great, you know? Or the Death of Superman storyline, amazing, you know? Or Kingdom Come, amazing. Or All-Star Superman, amazing. And you have so many storylines that are great, and they just keep kind of like the execution hasn't been where it needs to be. You have a high bar, and you're coming in real low.
Yeah, I saw a thing online because Zack Snyder's on that stupid Vero app still, and he's been answering questions from fans about the Justice League and about BVS and stuff.
Release the cut is the hashtag, right?
Right, and which I would love to see his cut, to see his take on it, because apparently has a lot of the payoffs from BVS are in his cut. They cut out for whatever reason, but that's all the thing on it is, if you have to sit and explain what things mean in your movie after it's out for, a while, you kind of failed at the movie if you have to keep explaining and people didn't get it because you weren't clear enough in how you did it.
Well, how many changes did Whedon do?
Right. Well, in BVS too, there's a lot of things that like people, for me, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But it's, yeah.
I really loved BVS though. I liked all those movies.
I know.
I'm a sucker for any of them.
Everything. Do you even have a movie you don't like? I mean,
a comic book movie that I don't like?
Sure.
No, not really.
See, because you're always like, I like it because I'm just happy I get to see it.
I didn't like the Shaq one.
You didn't like Steel?
Yeah, I didn't really like that one. For me, it's like this. I'm not going to see. I grew up in the 80s, and I wanted a Spider-Man movie so bad. What did I got? The live-action Spider-Man I got was a TV show in the late 70s, early 80s. And it was like literally you would see Spider-Man like flick his wrist and then somebody off screen would throw a net. And that's how they did the webbing. That's what I got. I had the cartoon, of course, but I didn't get the live action that you get today. So sitting here watching Superman fly, and nobody will ever be a better Superman than Christopher Reeve. And the Richard Donner stuff was stupendous. But when it comes to actually bringing it to life, you can't beat what we get today right now. And it is crazy awesome. And to see Wonder Woman and to see Batman and you see the Trinity on screen like that and having them either fight with each other or fighting a big villain or a big bad or whatever you want to call it and go through everything. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. And I get it because there's a lot of passion behind it. But for me, I just love seeing these characters brought to life and having it bigger than life in front of me. And I get excited by it. And so I'm good. And I don't need it to be freaking Rosebud and Orson Welles in some ways to make it perfect. It just doesn't need to be that for me. I just want to see it, Can the writing be better? Yeah. Did they mess up on Steppenwolf? Big time. He looks like a video game character on the big screen, which was crazy to me. And I was like, how did you guys even let this get past?
Oddly enough, he actually looks better on, I have just like on Voodoo. It actually looks better. I don't know if they did touch-ups on it, but he looks better on the version I watched recently versus the one I watched in theaters. In theaters, it looked terrible.
Maybe it was just the size difference.
Yeah, maybe.
So for me, I'm not as critical on it because I can't help but think that Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder, yeah.
I always get him mixed up with the writer from in DC right now.
Right, Scott Snyder.
So Zack Snyder, I can't help to think that he went into it thinking, I'm going to make a crappy movie that no one's going to like. He put his blood, sweat, and tears into that stuff, and he worked a long time on that arrangement. I think where Warner Brothers messed up is in Disney is it Feige or Feige?
Kevin Feige.
Feige. I don't want to mess up his name. Anyways, Kevin over at Disney at the Marvel Studios is an overarching person that is making sure everything is in place and how the vision is being executed. Warner Brothers doesn't have that. They had Zack Snyder doing everything and directing. And I don't think you can have somebody with an arcing vision that is integrating multiple movies and have that person being directing certain things because he's always going to take what he wants and not have the overall vision of how to execute it. You know what I mean? Because he's going to be, I want this, so this is going to happen. And then we're having another director do Suicide Squad. Well, I don't care. You're going to do this, and it's not the same. There was no direction that was focused. And I think that's where they messed up.
I mean, that shit happens in Marvel too. And that's why Joss Whedon walked from Marvel, is because there were so many studio directions in Avengers 2 that became a nightmare for him to do. But to go back to your point about, it's Zack Snyder put his blood, sweat, and tears in this to make this, and a lot of effort went into this, and he clearly didn't go out to make a shitty movie. You're right. Nobody goes out to make a shitty movie unless you're Ed Wood. But
Planet out of space.
Right. And it's not that I think that he made out make a shitty movie. It's just that even though I love the characters and I am impressed to see him on screen and it does visually look great, I still don't want to be accepting of it being a subpar experience or a subpar story. because special effects these days are a dime a dozen, and you can do special effects that look as good as the movies on your fucking cell phone if you really want to, because
right.
somebody used Deep Thought, that face replacing app or program, to replace Henry Cavill's mustache, and it looked better than it did on screen for Justice League. So, I mean, special effects are great. Cosplayers can make better costumes than some of the movie companies do. So that's awesome there too. The times we live in, we have these amazing things. But I'm not going to sit and say, I'm so glad to see Justice League, or I'm so glad to see BVS. I'm going to be okay with it, and I'm going to love it even though it has a shitty story or a shitty plot. I'm going to say, yeah, it looks great. It has fun parts into it, but I'm still thinking, okay, they missed a huge bunch of it. And to go further on that, one of the things Marvel has that DC doesn't or didn't, I don't know if they have it, maybe they have it moving forward. Marvel hired writers and directors who actually liked the characters they were working on.
That's a big point.
Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder openly hate Superman.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Openly talk about how Superman is a shitty character. Chris Terrio, I think it was him at least, openly stated that when you go to the Death of Superman movie, you've run out of ideas for a movie. Openly talks shit about the character of Superman, yet they give him the direction of a character in his solo movie and move him forward in 3 movies. I mean, that's bad. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. I'm looking something up because...
And Eli, this is how nerdy we get sometimes.
Yeah. Well, because
no, you got to speak with such confidence in your voice. I'm like, I can't. I feel nervous intertwining with you guys.
No, don't be nervous, man. Just jump in there.
Here's the thing: is I will speak confidently in whatever I say until I'm proven wrong, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was wrong." Because if I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it with confidence. Like I know what I'm talking about.
And he's wrong all the time. So am I. So it's okay.
No, I'm not. I'm never wrong.
Yeah, you are.
Never. No.
See that confidence there? And Punisher's first appearance was what?
Your mom.
Oh, that's not nice. She helps you out more than she helps me. So just the dynamic, Eli, is John is actually married to my niece. So we're all kind of family. So you'll
by choice, not by force.
Right. I didn't have to take the shotgun out or anything.
Yeah. It was like, we're doing a podcast, marry my niece, you're my family.
What's kind of funny is I kind of want to read up about Snyder and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this is weird, we've gone way off topic because this is really an Avengers episode.
But it is all kind of correlated because we got to this place from Avengers.
Yeah, and we're talking about the movies specifically. And I get what you're saying. You're just you want a better product when it comes to the writing of that's presented to you.
What if the only Spider-Man movie you got was Spider-Man 3? What if that was the only movie you got of Spider-Man?
But I liked that movie. It made me laugh, man.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
See, you can't handle the fact that I would like something.
Why do you like shitty movies? But you don't like Batman and Robin with Joel Schumacher?
Oh, God, that was so terrible. No.
That's the most comic booky Batman movie that's ever been out. You know that, right?
No, it's not. It is not the most comic booky movie ever for Batman. That is a fucking redo of the TV show, which is not Batman. So, no. Go read.
It's very close.
No, it's not. Dude, it's terrible. And you put nipples on a Batman suit? Fuck off. I can't do it. I don't know, man. I like Spider-Man 3 just because it was still quirky, but I thought Venom looked great. They did the whole sound thing. It was pretty close. It's going to be closer to the storyline than what they're going to be doing with Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, based on what we're seeing so far.
Right.
So
I'm not excited for that.
That doesn't bother me, man. I get what you're saying. You want a better product. You want a better written. You want better writing and in a direction where the plot lines are in succinct, not so all over the place.
I just want to get the spirit of the characters and do the characters justice.
Right. Well, I think they nailed it on Batman. I thought Batman was fine.
Batman's great.
Yeah, and I think Wonder Woman, you can't get a better Wonder Woman right now.
Yeah, she was great too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think they just really messed up on Superman for you.
Yeah, and the whole idea of having a coherent plot in one movie.
Yeah, it was a little all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, Batman BVS is really 3 movies shoved into one movie, and it kind of makes it hard to follow and understand. I mean, the extended version makes it easier to follow, but there is absolutely no reason why the Doomsday needed to be tacked on at the end of BVS. That was stupid.
You know what? What would have made Avengers better, or not Avengers, what would have made Justice League better, and they could have done more with it, is if they would have used the characters from the TV show. You would have had a back plot point. You would have had back catalog. You would have understood the characters more. You would have been more. I think you kind of had more compassion, more empathy for what you were seeing on screen with those characters, especially with Flash. And why not bring in? You could have brought an Arrow in as a low-level Avenger or Justice Leaguer.
Well, I mean, he's just as powerful as Batman, essentially, except for he uses a bow and arrow. I mean, they're basically the same character, just one's green, one's black.
Yeah.
Batman would kick the shit out of him.
Maybe.
You told me once that Batman would beat Spider-Man, and you're saying you think the Green Arrow would beat Batman.
I will argue any point and try and convince you that I am right, no matter what I think is true or not. It's not about what I actually think. It's about it's about winning. Damn it!
That's so terrible.
I was on debate club in high school, man. Come on.
Were you really?
Well, for a little bit, yeah. I quit though, but I was on it for a little bit.
Oh, you quitter.
Yeah, well, I was in a rock band. I had shows to go play. I had chicks to pick up.
Oh yeah, chicks to pick up.
I didn't have chicks to pick up. I was super shy. I played my show and then went home.
Did you really?
Aww. Yeah. Every time I played, we play shows like 2 or 3 times a week. And I was in high school, and I'd go play the show at the bar. Then I'd be done, pack up my gear, and go home and play video games or draw.
You're so innocent.
Yeah.
So there you go, man. I think we've made some valid points where I think we're all excited to go see the Avengers.
Oh hell yeah!
We got pretty passionate when you start talking movies. It's hard not to compare the big two. You know,
always will. Everybody always will.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question for you guys and bring this kind of all back to the Avengers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like the Marvel movies. Let's finish it the way, we're started. Like you're out of the park, this far out idea. It's probably not going to happen. What's your prediction? Like one just out there that probably won't happen. But if it happens, you could say, hey, listen to this podcast. I said this was going to happen. Just some far out idea.
My far out idea is when Thanos comes to Earth into New York City, his first interaction is with the Defenders from the Netflix series.
Ooh.
That'd be
not
cool.
even buy a hot dog from a hot dog vendor on the side of the street, because that would be funny.
Well, I'm going for something that actually might happen, not something that's never gonna happen.
No. I like it. I'm just totally joking, but I like that.
Yeah.
That's something I couldn't think of there. That's cool.
If his first interaction in New York City is in Hell's Kitchen, he meets like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and that's his first interaction. That'd be a great way to tie the two universes together. And it could be a couple minute scene, and he just kind of dismisses them, or whatever. It'd be great.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Wow, I mean, because you could even throw in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in there too.
Yeah, Punisher somewhere too.
Interesting. I think that they've been. What's the big thing is everybody thinks someone's going to die, right? Yeah. Is that the big thing? I mean, can we say that that's one, not the big thing, but that's one of the big things?
No, that is the big thing. Who's going to die? Captain America, Iron Man. That's what everybody's saying. Who's dying? Captain America, Iron Man.
They think it's one of the two.
Mostly, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
So I guess the out of the park thing, you know what? Out of the park thing is I think there's a cameo from Deadpool.
That'd be insane.
Oh.
Because,
that would.
It's getting close where Disney is going to, if all signs are Disney's taking over Fox, because really, why are they taking over Fox? They just really want the Marvel stuff, right?
Yeah.
That would be an amazing way to tie that in. Because
there was a report today that said that the next X-Men movie, the Dark Phoenix, is the last Fox X-Men movie.
Yeah, which is crazy. But the thing is do you think that the two universes are supposed to be separate? But there's nothing that makes it impossible for them to tie those movies in.
No.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is going to happen, if we were talking to what's going to happen post Avengers 4, which is the end of Phase 3. I think what's going to happen is they're going to reset the universe, sort of, right? And in that reset, when things come back at the end of Avengers 4, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four will be part of the MCU.
Yeah, they'll do some movie event and then somehow tie them all in because, the mutants would have been around the whole time, so they're going to have to come up with some way for we've been around, but you guys just haven't seen it.
Or when they use the gauntlet to reset everything, all the damage that Thanos does, in that reset creates the mutants and puts them into the world where mutants exist and to where the Fantastic Four are a thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it could be that. Well, that could be. As soon as you hear somebody on a Disney-owned title mention mutant, then game on. Yeah. Because they don't even say mutant, right? They say enhanced or whatever.
Enhanced or whatever. Yeah, they don't say mutant. They should though.
Is Jessica Jones a mutant in the comic books, or she was worked on?
She was worked on. Yeah, we talked about this on that episode. She was experimented on. Yeah, she was captured and experimented on.
I know she was experimented on in the TV show, but I couldn't remember if you said if that was how it was in the comic book as well.
Yeah, as far as I remember, she was experimental. I don't think she was a mutant.
God, man, God damn it, Johnny. I really wish I would have said the Defenders thing because that was awesome.
That was.
All right, guys. So we will see everybody tomorrow, and we will have our reaction to the Avengers 3 Infinity War.
Hey, can't wait.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah, what's that?
Where can they hear us?
You can listen to us anywhere that podcasts go. iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Not SoundCloud. We got rid of that because they wanted a bunch of money from us to do it. So I was like, nope. You can listen to us on Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, whatever. We're there. Anywhere you can put us.
Yeah. Could you say anywhere podcasts are heard?
You could. And you could say anywhere podcasts are thrown, you can catch them. You can catch ours.
There you go. And where can they get a hold of us at?
You can get a hold of us by calling our voicemail line at 707-656-2080 and leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on a future show. You can email us at spoilercountry@gmail.com. You can catch out our website at scpod.net. You can hit us up on Twitter at spoiler_country. We're also on Instagram and on Facebook. You can hit us up there. We are always available to talk to you on Twitter because we kind of sit on that thing all day long because it's fun.
There you go. Eli, thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow. And everybody, don't forget, open your mind. Read more.
See ya.
See ya.